Good night. Good night.
Okay.
So what are we doing here? So we're on the top of Lamed Vav. Rav Shapir got us to learn on yevamos on Cholamod Pesach. You know, like.
Sure. My wife says, at least you're doing something good. She says, what are you doing? I said, I'm going to the top of your. Oh, at least you're doing.
Okay, we're on the Lamed Vav. Just to go back a little bit to recap what we're talking about. There's a machlokes if somebody did chalitza when the woman was pregnant, and the Ma'aseh she was mapel, the Ma'aseh she miscarried. We're going to see soon, or we saw already, that if it's going to carry through, then it's not a question that it's not a good chalitza or yibum. But if she didn't miscarry, it didn't carry through, so then machlokes if it works. But if it he shouldn't have had relations. But if he did, is it good or not? That was what Rabbi Yochanan said that's good, chalitza and yibum, and Shlokish said not. The Gemara at the bottom, Abai tried to differentiate between chalitza and yibum, that even everybody holds that yibum was not good, even according to Rabbi Yochanan. But the Rabbah now, Manavshach, and 3 lines from the bottom, he said no difference. If it works for chalitza, it works for yibum. If not, not. And he brings on the top. If it works, for yibum, then it works for chalitza. If it doesn't work for yibum, it doesn't work for chalitza. So if you're saying over here that it's not going to work, if you would have yibum with this woman who's pregnant, it wouldn't work, then chalitza also shouldn't work. So what are we going back on? We're holding by a kasha of Yochanan. Here, this Bryce in blue, it says if somebody did yibum and then he found out that she's pregnant, so it says that the tzara should not marry the co-wife. Now, why not? The other one was already did yibum. So the words that the Bryce originally said was because maybe that pregnancy is going to carry through, and what's going to happen now? We're talking about 2 different ladies now. There are 2 co-wives, right? And so if the one carries through, so it doesn't make any sense. If the carries through, so that's a good yibum, and then the Torah is free. Why shouldn't you marry? Right. So because of that, the Gemara wanted to change the wording that it must mean Shema lo yehev lashel kayama. Maybe it's not going to carry through. And what does it mean to say that the chalitza wasn't a good chalitza? That the yibum wasn't a good yibum. Again, if somebody had relations with a woman and she was pregnant, and if it's not going to carry through, so Shlokish reads the Bryce very nice that it's not going to carry through, and it wasn't a good yibum, and therefore the tzara should hold off. Don't get married yet. L'shuk, don't go to marry somebody because the yibum that your tzara did might not work. But according to Rabbi Yochanan, it does work. That's the kasha we're holding by. Rabbi wanted to say that Rabbi Yochanan is more than by yibum, that it doesn't work, but the Rabbi doesn't go for that. So Rabbi is holding by this kasha now. The kasha is that you have to change the Bryce to say that maybe it's not going to be a good, it's not going to carry through. The blood is not going to be kayama, not going to be a surviving blood. And it says that that's a problem. According to Rabbi Yochanan, it shouldn't be a problem.
So what would happen to the tzara? That he would give
she should wait. She has to wait. She should wait until see what happens.
Okay, and then if then the baby dies, then what happens?
So then the yibum wasn't a good yibum. So one of them has to be taken care of. This man has 2 wives who died. The one who died has 2 wives, and it wasn't taken care of yet. Like Shlokish says that the yibum that he did wasn't a good yibum. Right. So maybe he should be Yavim afterwards. He should be Yavim afterwards. Whatever Shlokish will say. That's what Shlokish said before. That after he did a yibum, even if it wasn't good, he has to be Yavim now. But that's the most kasha now on Rabbi Yochanan. So we're attacking Rabbi Yochanan. So we're on the 3rd line on Lamed. Ella Amar Rabba Haki Kamar. Hakodesh Yevimto Benim says Muberes. I raise the Lord and I say Tzirasa. Shem Yehev Ben Kayam. He changed it back to the original Gersa. Means it didn't say this thing. We asked the kasha only because we had no pshat in the words. The words didn't make sense. The tzara shouldn't marry because maybe the blood is going to be kayama. On the contrary, if that's good. That shouldn't be a problem. So he's going to go back to this original gears and fix it up. That the beer that he did right now, if it's not going to carry through, is problematic. But if it is going to be a vlad shel kayama, so what's the problem? That would be the good side. That even though it's going to be ben kayama, the marriage, the yibum of her co-wife is going to carry through and it's going to be a successful yibum and everything. I'm sorry. I was saying wrong. I'm sorry. I think I said wrong. That the name says muberes. That the tzara was found that she was muberes from the original husband, and even though the yavam did yibum, but she was pregnant from the original husband. And if it is going to be a ben kayama, so then everything should be fine. That the late husband
That's right.
left over a child, so there's no yibum. Let's say, why can't the tzara go free? Because there's a new chiddush of blood in a poter that the child that's born, even though he left over seed, but he's not. It doesn't let the woman go free until he's born, even though he's going to be born. But it doesn't work until he's born. So
to make sure that he
not only to make sure, even on the side, me hearing more saying on the side that it's not going to work. So then the Rabbi Yochanan is answering. Rabbi Yochanan holds that if the child is not going to carry through, so then the yibum was a good yibum.
right.
So that wouldn't be a problem. The only problem, so Rabbi Yochanan has to explain, why it's a problem, because maybe the child is going to go through, is going to carry through, and then the yibum for sure is not a good yibum, and you have to come back onto the original husband that he had left the child,
Right.
but he only patters the women to go free after he's born, not because of suffix. Even if on the side that it's gonna work,
Right.
but it doesn't work until he's born.
Right, it's born, right.
That's the chiddush. That you might think that he left overseas, that it's going and it's going to come to fruition.
No,
That okay, so you're happy with that. So she can't get married. The tzara shouldn't get married, even
Right.
though it might. We'll see that the dead man left over a child, but till he's
born.
it doesn't work, and therefore she should hold off, see what happens. If we know for sure that it's not a Vlad Kayama, Rabbi Yochanan will say she could marry because the other wife was taken care of because she had the yibum, and yibum of a muberis is good according to Rabbi Yochanan. Tani Kavas the Rava, we have a brisa like Rava that he explains this in order to answer Rabbi Yochanan. Here it is, Shema Yehei Vlad ben Kayama, and but explains what he said. Ein b'chalitza poter asel Vlad poter, Vlad ein poter ad sheitz alav b'rei olam. It says mamish word for word what Rabbi said, that the problem is because maybe the child is going to live, the one that the dead man left over, but he doesn't part the women to get married until he was born. So Rabbi Yochanan is good. So now what happened? We started off with this brisa. And we didn't the blue brisa over here. We didn't understand it. We tried to change it into the pink. We tried to make a gersa, and that was a right to Rish Lakish Kashan of Yochanan. But now we brought a brisa to back up Rabbi's pshat in the brisa. On the contrary, now we turn the tables. Now it's a right to Yochanan. It's Kashan of Rish Lakish because the brisa says that the only problem is that maybe he is gonna live, but there's no problem about if he wouldn't live, if he wouldn't be a ben kayama. So then smash that the yibum that the yavam did would have been good. So it's a kasha and Rish Lakish now. That's the most kasha time with the Shema Vlad ben Kayama, who the only problem the brisa finds is maybe he's going to live, but he's not. If he's not going to live, Allah Vlad ben Kayama mifta tzarosa. Then it means smash that the tzara would have been taken care of by the fact that she had yibum, even though she was pregnant at the time. And Rish Lakish shows that a yibum to a pregnant woman is not a good yibum. So it's a kasha and Rish Lakish now. Then you have to do Rish Lakish. Rish Lakish. Now I could explain the brisa also. Now he's coming to explain this brisa. The Tanya Kavase. The Tanya Kavase now is a kasha on Rish Lakish. How is he going to explain this words about that the blood is not poter until he comes out? That's not the subject. The subject is that even if he doesn't live, the yibum was not a good yibum because the woman was pregnant. So Rish Lakish is going to explain the brisa. Why shouldn't she get married if her tzara again the co-wife had yibum, but then she was found to be pregnant from the original husband? So the other wife, the tzara, should not marry yet. Why not? First of all, Shema lo Vlad ben Kayama, like Rish Lakish held the whole time, that yibum that was done to the woman when she was pregnant is not a good yibum. So the yibum that he did is not going to be a good yibum. But you might say, let us rely that the pregnancy is going to carry through, and you don't need this whole yibum over here because he left over a child. And that the brisa says, that the brisa is addressing the possibility that it's true. And the brisa, that the words the brisa says is on the top that it is going to carry through. So the brisa had to say that don't rely on the fact that it's going to carry through, because even though most those do carry through, because that doesn't help, because till he's born, it doesn't part of the woman. She can't go free yet. But the other part that maybe it's not going to carry through, that the brisa understands that you should understand that it's not a good chalitza, it's not a good yibum. It's not a good yibum because she was pregnant at the time. So at this point we have no raya to either one. We had a machlokas of Yochanan and Lakish if a chalitza or a yibum was done to a pregnant woman, and at the end it didn't carry through. The child didn't make it. Rish Lakish and Rabbi Yochanan holds that it's a good yibum and a good chalitza. Rish Lakish holds that it's not a good yibum, not a good chalitza. We tried to bring a raya, we didn't bring a raya. Rabbi Lazar Amora said, is it possible that Rish Lakish is right and it's not in the Mishnah someplace? Means even though we did learn our Mishnah, Rish Lakish did have a pshat on our Mishnah, but it's not mamash proof. He wants that it should be a Mishnah, a raya to Rish Lakish that yibum or chalitza done to a pregnant woman is not good. So he checked into it. He went out and he checked. He investigated and he found a proof to Rish Lakish that it's chalitza and yibum done to a pregnant woman is not good. The Tnan, Haisha Shalaf Ayla, it's Rasal Amdina Sayam. Uvol Ramula Mez Balech. Hare Zu Loti Nase, Loti Siabim, Acheteda Shemo Mubaras Hi Tsarasa. A little diagram, if that helps a second. Not a big issue with this diagram, just something. Was that I did it right? I think I didn't do it right. 1 second. Here's a man that has 2 wives. And they went for a trip. The husband went for the trip with one of his wives, Lamdina Sayam, and the news comes back that he died. But the tzara is also not here. It means the husband and one of his wives went away, and the husband was heard. We have news that the husband died. Now this other woman is here in town, and also the yavam is here in town, and they want to know what to do. So if we would know that this woman is pregnant, or gave birth, whatever, so then there's no yibum. But we don't know what's happening because they're not here. The woman's not here. So that's what the Brisa talks about. What is the woman who's local over here, and she just hears news about her husband died and the other co-wife is not around? What does she have to think? So what does the Brisa say? A woman that her husband and her co-wife went overseas, and then people came and told her that her husband died, but the tzara did not die. The husband died. So it says that the woman, the wife who's here, should not get married and should not do yibum. Means don't get married out.
Right.
And the Gemara thinks that it means don't do chalitza. Don't do chalitza or yibum. Why? Until she finds out what happened, because maybe the co-wife, she's not here, she's overseas, maybe she's muberes, maybe she's pregnant. So don't act. Wait until you find out what happened with the tzara. So she's on. We hold her. We tell her to hold off. Don't do anything. So the mother wants to know why not. Why should she? What's the problem? What are you worried about? Now, one possibility is that she's pregnant. The co-wife is pregnant wherever it is. She is overseas, and it's going to be a ben kayama. She's pregnant from the original husband, and it's going to be a ben kayama. So there's no yibum. So she surely shouldn't do yibum to the brother that's here. Surely she can't do yibum to the brother that's here. Maybe the seed that that brother left over is going to make it through, and it's going to be no room for yibum, and this yibum is going to be marrying a brother, her husband's brother, without any mitzvah of yibum. That's pashut, that he can't do yibum. That's a big problem. So surely she can't do yibum. How come the Raisa says lo sinase? The Gemara says lo sinase means you shouldn't do chalitza to get married. Why not do chalitza? In the case, if it's possible you don't need it. It's possible that there's a child and you don't need the chalitza over here because the other one is taken care of. But maybe on the tzad that she's not pregnant, so why not do chalitza and let her get married? What does she have to wait for? We do understand why she can't do chalitza and get married within 9 months. Because why? Because Hainu Suffolk. What do we know? We don't know. Maybe she's pregnant. As long as she's pregnant, and it might be what are we saying?
It might
be kayam. Is that a reason not to do chalitza?
Right. Then you want to wait till the baby comes out.
Why is that?
And afterwards you do chalitza.
Why would it be a problem if she would do chalitza and get married within 9 months? If anybody could help me again. Hainu Suffolk. What is that suffix? We don't know if she's muberes or not. So why should she not do chalitza? The Gemara wants to bring a raya to Resh Lakish that it must be the chalitza is not going to be good. To get, why can't she? I'm not following. I lost it. Why can't she get chalitza and also get married? Because we're going now according to even Rabbi Yochanan. Rabbi Yochanan holds that a chalitza's muberes is good. She's not muberes over here. Why can't the woman over here that's here by us, why can't she get chalitza?
Okay. So if the baby comes out alive, then there's no problem. If the baby dies, it's no problem.
No, talking about, I want to know why the Gemara says that within 9 months. Anybody can help me? Shema yehi v'latza rasa ben kayama ve'ein bia v'chalitza poteres. If the co-wife is pregnant and it's going to be a ben kayama, and the bia v'chalitza poteres and bia v'chalitza poteres. Even according to Rabbi Yochanan, if it is going to be, this is the point that everyone agrees that if the vlad isn't going to be a ben kayama, then surely it's not good. Even the whole Rabbi Yochanan was talking about if it's not going to be a ben kayama. If the pregnancy is not going to carry through, that was machlokus. But if the pregnancy is going to carry through, then Rabbi Yochanan also holds that it's not going to be a good chalitza. A chalitza done
to someone that doesn't need chalitza.
To someone that doesn't need chalitza. No, I'm not getting it.
So what's the problem? Like Rabbi said, she could marry out.
Why shouldn't she be able to get? The Gemara says, I do understand why she can't do chalitza within 9 months. Chalitza and get married within 9 months. And I was going to ask, let her do chalitza
and get married within 9 months.
And get married after 9 months. Again, that's the words of Bishlam Matachlis B'toch Tes B'tinase B'toch Tes Lo. We do understand why she can't do chalitza and get married within 9 months. But we don't understand why she can't do chalitza within 9 months and get married after 9 months. Means the chalitza, on the side that the baby is born, eventually is born after 9 months, so surely she can marry him. On the side that the baby was a nefel.
Right.
So also the chalitza, according to Rosh Hashanah, the chalitza would have been a good chalitza, and she also could marry after 9 months. But why is the Gemara happy? Why would she have to wait after 9 months? If somebody could help me again, Moshe again. Why is it problematic if she would get married within 9 months? If she does chalitza and wants to get married right away.
Just in case if the baby dies, what happens if the baby dies and then she gets chalitza?
If she got chalitza right now, what's the possibility that her co-wife is pregnant?
Right.
So why can't the other one get chalitza and get married? The chalitza is not going to be a good chalitza. Why not? Why is the chalitza not good if the other wife is pregnant? Okay, I'm not getting this point.
She doesn't need chalitza.
She does need chalitza, but is it a problem?
Right.
Is it, no. The one saying is good. Why she shouldn't do this? She should not do chalitza and get married.
Right.
It's a partial thing. I'm just not getting it right now. So if not, we'll do it again tomorrow. This one point. But tomorrow was
only within the 9 months.
Within the 9 months. But the one is asking. But the one is trying to focus on now that it could be that she should do chalitza now within the 9 months.
And
then get married after 9 months. And what's the problem? Maybe there was not a ben kayama. So according to Rabbi Yochanan, it's a good chalitza. It must be that Rish Lakish is right, that it's not a good chalitza.
That's why she can't do it. That's why she can't.
And right, it's not a good chalitza, and therefore she can get married even after 9 months because the chalitza she did wasn't good. So therefore, the Gemara thinks it's a right to Rish Lakish. But the Gemara says it's not a good right. But the Gemara says the kasha doesn't make sense because according to your reasoning that there's a way to get out of it without just waiting until she comes back. So she surely could get chalitza after 9 months also. That the Brisa also doesn't say. The Brisa says, wait. You should just wait 9 months. Then for sure by that time, surely either he was born and everything's fine and she can get married now, or if he wasn't born, so then she surely could do chalitza now. The kasha is the kasha. That the reason why you don't tell her to do chalitza, really you could do chalitza. You could do chalitza after 9 months. You could make the chalitza during the 9 months, according to Rabbi Yochanan. And the reason why you don't do this is because maybe things are going to become. Maybe it's going to become verified that she was pregnant with a vlad kayama and the whole chalitza was not necessary, and therefore she's mutter to marry a kohen. We're going to have to make an announcement to say that this woman, even though she got chalitza, it wasn't a chalitza, and she's mutter to marry a kohen. We don't want to do that. We don't want to give chalitza to a woman that maybe doesn't need chalitza because people will think she's also to a kohen. Right. So that's the reason. Really, there's a way to do chalitza. Surely after 9 months, and according to Rabbi Yochanan, even during the 9 months. The reason why the Brisa says to wait is because we don't want to do unnecessary chalitza. The Moshe Kasha, what's the problem to make an announcement? Let her get chalitza now, and if later on we showed that the chalitza is not necessary, so we could make an announcement that wasn't anything. The Gemara says, "Dema ikad enchi to have a b'chalitza, v'lo have a b'charaza." Because people might have heard that she got chalitza, and they didn't hear that later on it was nullified, and the whole thing was said that it was a mistake, and they'll see that she's getting married to a kohen. They'll think that a chalitza married to a kohen. So we don't like doing that. We don't like to give me chalitza when later on it might be verified that it was a mistake. So the Gemara backs up Rabbi Yochanan. The Gemara thought it had a kasha on Rabbi Yochanan from this brisa, and the Gemara shows that it's not a kasha, and Rabbi Yochanan is also didn't get disproven yet. And now Abai says another reason that it's not a kasha on Rabbi Yochanan. Amalei Abai, the whole thing's a mistake. Midi lo sachlos lo tishavim kadani. The brisa it didn't say lo sachlos; it said lo sinase. The Gemara took it till now to mean don't get married means don't get married even with chalitza. So as if we read the brisa, don't do chalitza and don't do yibam, and the kasha was why not to do chalitza according to Rish Lakish. But it says it doesn't say that. It just says don't get married. Don't get married means don't get married without getting chalitza. Don't marry out and assume that the tzara is pregnant and has a child, and you can get married. No, you don't know all that. But it doesn't say you can't do chalitza. You could do chalitza. Midi lo sachlos lo tishabim. Does it say the word lo sachlos in the Brisa? It doesn't say that. It says lo sinase. That means lo chalitza. That means don't get married without chalitza, because don't assume that the tzara is pregnant and gave birth. Chalitza does help. So there's no raya at all to Rish Lakish. So we're still holding where we started from. Machlokes of Yochanan and Rish Lakish. If the chalitza and the yibum to a pregnant woman who, am I saying good all the time? She's pregnant. The pregnant woman, it means that she's pregnant from the deceased husband. Yeah, I guess I have to keep on remembering what I'm talking about. That woman who the husband died without children, but she's pregnant,
right.
And we don't. And in a case where it does not carry through, was the chalitza yibum done to her at that time? Is it good? Even though Maisa didn't carry through, so Yochanan says, "If Elionav would come and tell you it's not going to be good, you could do yibum chalitza." But that's the question of Yochanan Rish Lakish. So that's so far holding about a machlokes. But now we find the brisa like Rish Lakish. Tani kavasa de Rish Lakish acholas lemuberes ve'pila tzricha chalitza menach. And the Farish, like word for word, Rish Lakish said that if someone gave chalitza to the widow who was pregnant, and then the pregnancy didn't carry through, so you might say, so Yochanan would say that it's okay, it was a good chalitza. But the Brisa says like Rish Lakish, she does need chalitza again. The chalitza wasn't a good chalitza, and that's the halacha. But we get some extra credit over here. We get a bonus over here that not only what we're talking about, we're going to get another two places where we pass like Rish Lakish. So usually we have a machlokes of Yochanan Rish Lakish in the whole shas. We pass like a Yochanan. Always the Yochanan against Rish Lakish. There are three exceptions. This is one of them. Wow. And because of our Gemara, we have a bonus to find out the other two also. There is no shaykhus ta'asugi at all. So we're going to get a bonus over here. But as far as this halacha, chalitzas muberes and bias muberes is not a good chalitza and yibum. Again, that the deceased husband left over a pregnant wife, and the brother did yibum or chalitza to her, even though later on she had a miscarriage. And Lamai said there is a chiv yibum, but since at the time she was pregnant, so it's not a good chalitza, not a good yibum. And the rest of it now is extra credit. And one is our subject. We said over here that chalitza muberes is not, and the bias muberes is not good. And now idach. So now we're going on a cruise to find out another two places in Shas. Be a pass like a Shlakish against Rabbi Yochanan. It's a different sugya. Somebody's writing a will to bequeath his Yerusha to his children, and he didn't do it equally. It means the Torah says how to do it, and he did it differently. That either he gave more to, he didn't give it equally, he gave more to one and the other, or he made that the Bukhar shouldn't get Pishnayim. The halacha is that the Bukhar is supposed to get a double portion, but he made the Bukhar like anybody else. So the Baruch Kayam, he could do it. How could he do it? Because he's not working with Yerusha, he's giving it as a present. When a person gives a present, says he's entitled to give a present in his lifetime, whatever he wants. He doesn't give the present after death. He gives the present while he's alive. And that's what he means to say. When he's B'chaluk M'chasav, he means to say that he wants it to take effect before he dies. So that he could do. But if he said it's an inheritance, he says that he's bequeathing it, he's inheriting it to this son, or not according to the rate. So then it doesn't work only if it goes according to the Torah. But if he said, I want it to be an inheritance, then it doesn't count because you can't go against the Torah. The Torah says what Yerusha is. You can't make Yerusha different than the Torah says. That's interesting just to point out that I think with people who do buy the will, they should know they have to do, if they want to do it correctly, they have to go to a bezdin that knows how to do it. A regular lawyer might make it just a bequeathing in a different way than the Torah says, and it's not good. Right. I think that usually they do it like that. But in the halacha, they'll make it that it takes effect before he dies. Right. Now, what if he wrote the word Yerusha and the word Matana? He wrote both of them. He wrote both in the contract that he wrote. about how he wants to divide his estate amongst his children, he wrote the word Yerusha and he wrote Matana. But if you wrote any place that it's a gift, so then it works, even though it also says Yerusha. If you only use the word Matana, then surely it's good. But even if you use the word Yerusha, if any place he wrote Matana, it's also good enough. Rashi gives a few examples over here. It says in the beginning, in the middle, and the end. So he says in the last line, Betchila, this field should be given to Ploni, and he should inherit it. It means he said two terms. He said both about Tinasen and he said Yerashana. It should be given and inherited. So even that's the case where he said the word given before, Betchila, or Be'emsa. Yerusha, Betinasen, or Be'yerusha. He says Yerusha, and then he says given in the contract someplace, and he says again Yerusha. And Besov is Yerusha, whatever, Betinasen. So wherever he used the word Tinasen in the contract, even though he also spoke about wherever he said Matana, even though he also said Yerusha, it's good enough to be considered a Matana, and it takes effect, even though it's against the laws of Yerusha because you're giving it as a present. On this, Rish Lakish said that's how far was a Mishnah. Now, I'm Rish Lakish, Lolam Loikana Achiyama Ploni Yeshu Sada Plonis, Uplonis, Shenesatim Lahem, Matana, Vayirashim. So Rashi explains that the Machlokus over there is talking about if he said about one child it should be Yerusha and one child it should be Matana. Means if to the same child he said Yerusha and Matana, that's what we said. As long as you said the word Matana before, middle, after, it's good. What about for one child he said Lashon Matana? To another child he said Yerusha. So over there, Rabbi Yochanan says that's the case. It says here Yeresh Ploni Sada Ploni, but Tinasan Sada Ploni Ploni. Ruvain should be given, and Shimon should inherit. So that's the question. Does he mean to say everything's going to be present? So Rabbi Yochanan says it's good. Even the one that he said Yerusha, because since he said the term of Matana, it goes on everything. And Rish Lakish says no, it has to be to each one. And he says if you want to have for both of the sons, it has to stay on all of them. They should inherit, and it should be given to them, and they should inherit. It has to be going on all of them. But if on one brother he said a lashon of Yerusha, and the other one he said Matana, it doesn't help. The one who said Yerusha, not according to the Torah, doesn't work. So that was another place where you pass like Rish Lakish. Number two, Idach, the third case, the Tnan, also about Yerusha. Somebody wrote over his estate to his son after he dies, that it should take effect after he dies. So the Gemara explains that when a person does that, he means that the son should own the guf, the actual capital, but he still wants to have the profits as long as he's living. That's what the father, the normal thing the father would do. That he still wants to have the profits as long as he's alive, but he wants already that it should belong to the son. So that's what he did. He gave it to his son that it should take effect lachamoso. So what does that mean? That the son already owns the guf, and the father owns the payros. Now they want to sell. So the father can sell the whole thing because he gave the guf, the actual estate, to the son. And the son also can't sell because the profits belong to the father. So they're shutum sort of. The son owns the guf and the father owns the payros. Now, what if they did? Each one can sell his own part. He has the guf, he has the payros. If the father sold what he owns, so then he could sell the payros until he dies. What did the father sell? Yeah, because the father only had a right to the payros as long as he's alive. Right. So he sold this. Okay, as long as he's alive, it belongs to the buyer. But then when the father dies, then the son gets everything. Machar ben. But if the son sold the guf, then the buyer doesn't get anything until the father dies. Because what does he have? L'chorah, it means that he has the guf. Maybe it means that the son, the buyer has the guf which the son had. Right. Until the father dies, because the father has the payros. Right. But it sounds not like that. It's saying but yes, okay. But after the father dies, then the buyer does get it. Yeah. But now the case is like this. What if the son who sold it died? The son sold his guf that he had, the guf of the character that he had, and then the son died before the father. Mm-hmm. Now the question is, does the buyer get anything even after the father dies? Rabbi Yochanan says that Lokech doesn't get anything. It's not going to go to him. It only goes to the father's Yorshim. And the Gemara says in a minute why. Shlokish says that the Lokech does get, and when the father's going to die, he does get everything. Rabbi Yochanan why? Kinyan Peres Kinyan Aguf Dami. That the fact that the father had the payros, that's as if he owns the whole thing. It means the separating the guf and the Paris, Rabbi Yochanan holds that no, that the Paris that the father owns is like he has the guf, and since the present that the son gave never came to fruition because the son died, the present that the father gave to the son didn't take effect because he said the son could have the guf. He gave that as a present, but it never took effect because the son died before the father. So the one who bought it from him didn't get anything. But Rish Lakish says, so therefore the buyer does have the guf,
right, and he gets it.
and even though it didn't take effect in any time, but eventually when the father is going to die, so then he does own the guf, and he's going to get the Paris also then? Does he get the Paris also then?
Yeah, after 5 months.
Why should he get it? Because that's what he had sold to the son. Rabbi Yochanan says, "Lo kana lo keach afilu lo k'shamas ha'av." The kinyan perishai lo lab b'nechasim alolu is kikinyan aguf dami, and what the son sold is nothing. The Mishnah that says that after the son dies he gets it is because after the father died first, and over there the present that the father gave to the son took effect. But meisa ben lo baz chus liyad. That's how Rish Yochanan holds. Rish Lakish holds kinyan perishai lav kikinyan aguf, and that's how we pass it. So all that was aside. I should have made the end the parentheses over there to close it off. That was a bonus that we got. Two more things about Rish Lakish. So the main sugya tonight so far was the Mishnah, the whole sugya. I mean, the beginning of yesterday's stuff. That if someone did a chalitza yibum to a woman who's pregnant, so we pass like Rish Lakish that it's not a good chalitza, not a good yibum, even though the vlad didn't live. And then we had another two halachas. Now we pass like Rish Lakish. Another two things against Rabbi Yochanan in the Shas. One is that if in a document where someone's giving over his Yerusha, he changes what the Torah says, so he can't do that. He can't change what the Torah says. But if he says the word Matana, then he could. And here the question was, if it says Matana and Yerusha, if it was to the same person, then it's good enough. But for one son he wrote Matana, one son he wrote Yerusha, so Rish Lakish says it's not good. It's only the one that he says Matana is a Matana. The one who says Yerusha, he can't go against the Torah. And that's how he passed against Rabbi Yochanan. And the last thing is only the Paris is not considered a guf, and therefore the one who bought the guf could get the guf. Back to the Mishnah. The Mishnah said a case where the Yavam did Yibum to the widow, and then it was found that she was pregnant. But if the pregnancy doesn't carry through, so then he could keep her. That was the Mishnah, because if the pregnancy didn't carry through, we had a Rish Lakish about if the Yibum he did is a good Yibum or not, or he has to be miyabim afterwards, after the pregnancy is over. But for sure, he could keep her. Even if he might have done an Avera by having that, doing that Yibum at the time. If it wasn't a good Yibum, so then it was an Avera. But he could keep her. Now, after the Vlad dies, in Vlad Shel Kayamos, now he could keep her. And do Yibum now.
Yes.
Rabbi Yochanan would have held that the Yibum was even a good Yibum that he did already.
Right.
And Rish Lakish says he has to do Yibum again. Tana B'Shum Rabbi Elazar Amru Yotzi. Now it argues it says Yotzi beget. We'll get to that in a second. But Rabbi Elazar says different than our Mishnah that he has to divorce her. He can't keep her. Now the question is why. His brother left a pregnant wife, but he didn't carry through. So why shouldn't he marry her?
Right.
The problem is because he had relations too early. He shouldn't have had relations before while she was pregnant. And a knas, Rashi says that he's coming to argue and says, Rabbi Elazar Polig, on our mission that says that in Vlad Shel he's allowed to keep her. And he says no, even though it's not kansin only, because he took it too fast. She was a suffix at the time. He should have made sure that she's not pregnant. And since he had relations with her, so he has to divorce her. It says here in Agama Yotzi Beget. Yotzi Beget is going according to Rabbi Yochanan. Why is Yotzi Beget? He had relations with her. He did Yibum while she was pregnant, and then it didn't carry through. And Rabbi Yochanan will say that Yibum was a good Yibum, and then he has to give her a get. But we pass like Rish Lakish. We just finish saying pass like Rish Lakish that it wasn't a good Yibum. So that's a question. What this was? Some take out the word Beget, and this means that he can't marry her. And some say that maybe Beget means that he should marry her. He should have relations, and then think that to make a Yibum now. But that's a side point. If he holds like Rabbi Lakish or Rabbi Yochanan, but the main point is to say that Rabbi Elazar says, even though really technically there's no reason why he shouldn't marry her now. Now that it was the pregnancy didn't carry through, so the brother has no seed, so you should do Yibum. But since he did what he wasn't supposed to do, so he make a knas, and he has to he can't live with her. Amar Rava, Rav Meir, Rav Elazar, Amar Davar Echad. We find Rav Meir also holds like a Belezer over here, a similar idea to a Belezer that says that to make a knas that he should divorce her. Where do you find Rav Elazar Adamar and our Rav Elazar that says that even though really he could be able to be miyab from her now, but since he did wrong and he had relations before he was supposed to, so we say don't do yibum and do whatever you have to do in order to release her. And Rav Meir also holds a similar thing. The Tanya. First of all, there's halacha that a person is not allowed to marry a woman even though she's already widowed or divorced. He can't marry while she's pregnant. Here it's not a question of avchana. We had a question sometimes that she has to wait 3 months in order to make sure if she's pregnant or not. Here it's different. Here she's definitely pregnant. And it's not a question who the child is. So why not marry her? Why can't somebody else marry her if that's because she's pregnant? So we had the issue before that if she becomes Shekain Tina Yonik. I'm sorry. We want to leave the time that the child should be able to wean to nurse before we allow her to remarry. Why is that? Because something I forgot the details, but that's going to affect that she's not going to nurse him. She's not going to be nursing him from the old child. When she gets a new husband, she's not going to be taking care, or the husband is not going to be taking care of this child. So we don't want her to get married until she finishes nursing him. I forgot the details. I didn't understand it, but that's the halacha that she's not supposed to get married if she's muberes, because she might give birth, and we want to wait until she gives birth, and also 24 months for nursing. And if she's menekes also, you have to wait 2 years. So this woman who gets divorced or be widowed when she's has a child, she has to wait mamash a full 2 years until after the child is weaned. Now is vimnasa yotzi v'lo yachzor olam is dibra meir. If he did marry, somebody married her. Right. So we tell her that he has to divorce her and he never can take her back again. Why is that? It's only knas. Why shouldn't he take it back? So he did wrong. He should have waited 24 months. He didn't. So Mary says we throw the book at him, and he says you have to, because he did this that you took away. We said not to, so you have to divorce her and never take her back. Even though if after he waits 24 months, no reason not to anymore. It's a knas. So that's what the Gemara sees. Similarity between Rabbi Elazar and Rabbi Meir. They made a knas sometimes that he shouldn't marry her. He should divorce her. They also agree that he has to temporarily stay away from her. But once it comes to time, after 24 months, then he can take her. They're not going to make the knas. Rabbi Meir made a knas, and Rabban didn't make a knas. Who says that these things are? It's true. We have Machlokes Rabbi Elazar and Rabban in our case over here that Rabbi Elazar made a knas to give her to send her away, even though technically there's no problem now because of a knas. And Rabbi Meir also made a knas, but it's not similar. You don't see one holds like the other one. Maybe they're not comparable. He was very serious. The fact that he had relations with this pregnant yevama before it was clear if she's miscarrying or not. So it was a very dangerous move to make, because the fact that if it wouldn't have been a miscarriage, then it would have been no room for yibum, and he was having relations with his brother's wife without a mitzvah. It's a chiv koros. But over there, it's only Yisrael Rabbanan to marry. This precaution about not marrying while she's still nursing is only a Rabbanan precaution for the safety of the baby. But it's not the Isa Daraisa. Avalasam Rabbanan. Rabbanan's really over there. It's only Yisrael Rabbanan for the safety of the baby that he should be able to nurse. That's only Yisrael Rabbanan, and maybe also Rabbanan that they didn't make the knas that they never could take it back again. And also you can switch it the other way. On the contrary, since this Rabbanan, they have to reinforce it. That if you're not going to make a big knas, so then people won't listen to this whole halacha. It's hard to stay away 2 years. He wants to marry a woman. One wants to get married, and it's only a chash that he's not going to, that she won't be. Maybe pregnant and there's no room for yibum, and it's a ishasach. That for that you don't have to worry. So it's not a riot. So we do find Rabbi Elazar and the Bryce over here argues on our mission makes such a big knas. You find a man making a big knas by a man who marries a woman within the time, the 2-year period, is not supposed to marry her. But you don't see the holding each other. And now the Gemara stands off a side point. The Chachamim over here said they said they don't be knas, just stay away from her at the time you're supposed to, the 24 months. The muveres chaber menechas chaber until 24 months. But Rabbanan say only temporary yotzi, and when it comes time after they waited the period, then he can take it back again. Not like a mayor. But the question of what does this yotzi mean? Yikuti yotzi midos means that separate. He married her. He shouldn't have married her. So separate until the time is over, 24 months, and then he can take her back again. But he says no. The one say yotzi also means what it gets. It means he has the mamish divorce her. They can get back together again, but it has to be a new marriage. Rabba who say that he could take her back again, but right now he has to give her a get mamish in order to cut the marriage that they did. And also, it's mashma like that because it doesn't say yafish. Yafish would have mean they should just separate. The fact that it says yotzi means mamish with a get, and that's a side point because they were also very machmir. If you're just going to say yafish without a get, they'll still be together. They'll find ways to be together. We want to make sure that it's separated, so you should give her a divorce. If after 2 years they want to marry again, they can marry again. So this also was a side point. That's the end of the Gemara today. Just to sum up what happened. The first sugya was closing up our real sugya that if somebody did chalitza or yibam to a muberes from the deceased husband, so we hold like Rish Lakish that it's not a good chalitza, it's not a good yibam. And this is one of the 3 cases that we passed like Rish Lakish against Rabbi Yochanan. The other one was that if in a star of Yerusha it said matana, it's good only if it's for that one that it said matana, even though it said matana and Yerusha. But for 2 different brothers, one said matana, one said Yerusha, it's not good. And the last one was kinyan peres lav kinyan aguf, that in a case where someone sold, the father gave a matana to his child, the guf of the estate, and the father held on to the peres, and the son died in the lifetime of the father, the lokech, the buyer, does have the guf, and when the father dies, he does get everything. And the next halacha was about our Mishnah where somebody had relations with a yevama when she was still pregnant, or he didn't know, but it comes out that she was pregnant. So does the Mishnah say that he doesn't know? I forgot the case of the Mishnah was that he knew or he didn't know. How does the Mishnah start again?
It doesn't say that.
The Mishnah says, what's the Nimseis Muberes? He didn't know. He didn't know, but he should have waited. He should have waited to make sure that she's not pregnant. So in this case, the Kana says Nimseis Muberes, even though in a Vlacho Kayama, Yekayim, our Mishnah says that he could keep her because the Maisa, the Vlad didn't carry through, but Yabbalaz argues on this word. Yabbalaz argues on what it says, Yekayim. Yabbalaz argues what it says, Yekayim, and it says Yotzi. And but the Gemara says, because it's a knas, that's a knas that he married her too soon. And the Gemara says, Rameir will find also knas by marrying a woman within 24 months of while she's nursing. So Rameir says over there also that he has to divorce her. But you don't see it holding each other. Here is the right, so there's a chasha with Rabbanan, so it's not a right to each other. The Rabbanan over there, he could take her back, but temporarily he has to divorce her until the time period is over. Okay. Yashikar, everybody. Thank you. Thank you. And Moadim L'Simcha. Chagim Uzmanim L'Sasam.
Tomorrow 11 o'clock, right?
Tomorrow 11 o'clock. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Have it tomorrow at 11?